it's Anja here, and I'm back with another video for Ophelia Talks. And today we are making a BLOOMIN jar. Yes, of course, in this project where we are making our blanket, the jam jar happiness blanket, we are going to have to decorate a jar, aren't we? I mean, that would be just wrong if we didn't. So I happened to get these tiny jars. I love them, and I decided to decorate those. Now you can use them, of course, for all kinds of things, but look, my hooks fit in them really nicely. You could also use them as, of course, a little vase for any flowers, but also, you know, in the kitchen for spoons, or even in the bathroom for makeup brushes. Now the thing is, it's a lovely little project. It's a quick make, and it would make a nice present as well. So it's a win-win situation. So I have made this using leftovers from my jam jar happiness blanket cal pack, and we still have some available on our website, so do go and have a look at that. So of course, for the flowers, I'm going to have to refer you to the video with the flowers, because we are also putting flowers on our blanket. Now, as I said, I'm only making small jars, but you can make this for any size jar. I give you all the information you need to be able to do that. So what do you need for this project? Well, first of all, you need a jar, of course. Now I have this mini jar, which I love very much, and it's a really nice shape, so I thought I would use that for my demonstration here today. I usually use one of these. This is the Douwe Egberts instant coffee jars that we buy, and I always keep these because they come in so handy for so many things. I put them through the dishwasher, but this always stays sticky, but in a way it's great because this will help keep the trellis up. So if you make this and you put it on this sticky will just, you know, help you to make sure that your trellis stays up onto your glass there. So these are handy, but of course you can use a proper jam pot jar that you know, you can buy. I haven't got one that's empty at the moment, but these two will do for now. So I also am using some of my Wendy Supreme. This is the turquoise color because that was the base of my necklace, so I'm going to use that as the base for my trellis as well. I am using my usual hook of 3.5 for this DK yarn, which is prescribed for a 4. Of course, you also need a darning needle and some scissors. And here I have ready some of the flowers that we made in the previous video. So I have made lots of these flowers. As you can see, I have not sewn in the ends because I use those ends to attach them to whatever I'm going to be attaching them to. For instance, I am going to be attaching some to my blanket, to the mini blanket, and of course also to this jar here. So having a few of these flowers handy will be great for you to finish off some of the projects that we are making. So first of all, let's get started on making our base. Now, as you can see, this is a small jar. We are going to be making this to this size, but if your jar is bigger or even smaller, you will have to adjust this pattern to the size of your jar. And it's easy to do that. Either you do more rounds or you adjust the stitches. Can you see these here are 2 rounds of half double crochets? But then I thought doing another round of half double crochet is not going to be big enough, so I did a round of double crochets. So you can make sure that it fits the size, the base of your jar by adjusting the stitches and adjusting the number of rounds you do. Of course, it's a flat circle, so you'll have to go and have a look at my video for how to make a flat circle if you are wondering what your increase will be for after the 3rd row. Okay, then again for the side going up here, once again, you might need to do more rows of your trellis work, and also if you are wider, you will have more loops going round. But I will tell you in due course how to sort that, because even for us it doesn't work out. But it's good because that means I can show you how to deal with that. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to make our slip knot. So make it whichever way you usually make it. Insert your hook, and we are going to chain 3. So we make a smaller little circle than usual. You can use, if you want to, a magic circle. You go back into that first chain after you have chained 3, bring through your working yarn, and then bring it through the loop on your hook. You now have a tiny little circle to work in, and that's where we are going to be placing our first round of half double crochets. So chain 2, yarn over, insert into the middle of your circle, if you can find it. Yeah, there it is. Pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through the 3 loops on your hook. And you're going to do that 9 times. So that in the end, when we have finished this round, we will have 10 V's going round the outside of our work. So I will see you when you have your 9 half double crochets. Just one more to go here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then under the 9th V, that's where you're going to go under, and you bring back the yarn, and we do a slip stitch, and now we have 10 V's going around the outside of our work. Now we are going to chain 2, and this time we are going to place in each V around, we are going to place 2 half double crochets into each V. So we are doubling our stitches. That means from 10 stitches, we will now have 20 stitches at the end of this round. I will see you at the end of the round. Just made it to the end of the round. I'm placing another half double crochet into that stitch where the chain is coming out of, skipping the chain, going under the next V to do a slip stitch and close the round. So now I've done 2 rounds of half double crochet. I mean, if your jar is much bigger, feel free to do double crochets, okay? But this one here, I thought that would be okay. And now I didn't think I would make it to the edge with half double crochets, so now I did double crochets. So it's just a way of, you know, trying to figure out how big you think it will be and what size of height of stitch that you need. So now we are on the 3rd round, and the increase for the 3rd round is 1 double crochet in the first stitch, 2 double crochets in the next stitch, then 1 in the next, 2 in the next. So we do a repeat of 3 stitches. The first one is just 1 on its own, the second one and the third one are an increase in the next stitch. 1 and 2. I will see you at the end of the round. So I've made it to the end of my round. This is the location for an increase. So just adding a double crochet to that chain, skipping the chain, going under the V there to close the round. There we go. So for me, this now was big enough for my jar. So now we are going to get started on the side. So first of all, we are going to do a chain 2. And then we are going to have a look at our V's, and we are going to be picking up the back loop and, if you can find it, the 3rd loop as well. So yarn over, pick up the back strand of your first V, but also this strand here, sort of the one that you find sort of next to it when you tip over your work. So you can see here, this is the back, this is the third, this is the back, this is the third, and so on. Now, you don't necessarily have to pick up that third loop, but it will create a nicer finish. And look, if you angle your hook at a certain angle, more down instead of what we would normally do like that, you don't pick up the third loop. But if you point your hook down, there we go. Always difficult in the viewfinder. So down, and look, I've got my 2 loops. So it's just a matter of getting used to it, finding that third loop on the back of your work there. So you place 1 half double crochet or double crochet, and I'm doing double crochet, so I'm just going to leave it. I think the pattern says half double crochets. It depends on your jar, of course. Again, you know, do you want it taller or do you want it not so tall? So whichever stitch you decide to do, make sure you pick up the back loop and the third loop. 1 stitch in each stitch, and I'll meet you at the end. So I'm just trying it round my jar, and I think it's fine. It will go around it, so that's perfect. So I've made it to the end of round 4. And here, this is the stitch with the chain coming out of, so I'm going to skip the 2 chains, go under the next V, and I'm going to do my slip stitch. There we go. So that is the first round of the sides completed, and as you can see, it stands up from the base. So now we are going to get started on creating our trellis, and we are going to chain 5. Then you are going to skip 3 stitches, so 1, 2, 3, and then you go into the 4th stitch and you do a single crochet. Then you continue like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and you are going to skip 3 stitches going into the 4th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th for a single crochet. Now this multiple might not work for your amount, but it will be very close. So we will sort that out in a moment. So we continue 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip 3, 1, 2, 3, single crochet in the 4th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we're just going to have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have 2 stitches left over. So I'm now going to skip just 2 stitches and work in the next one, in the 3rd. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, and work in the next one. There we go. And so here 1, 2, 3, and then we have here to work in that one, and that's fine. So we've now done 2 loops which are skipping different amounts, but we need to do this for our amount of stitches so it all works out, so we still have a loop here. Now the thing is, I'm showing you this how I did this because of course I don't know how big your jar is, and you will have to probably do more rounds or less, and you just have to make it work. So it's a nice trellis. Nobody is going to see that you have skipped an extra stitch here, and in the whole scheme of things it won't show. So now we have here the chain for our last loop, but if we put it here with a single crochet, then we're in the wrong place. So what I'm going to do, the last loop of our round, 1, 2, 3, I'm going to do 3 chains. and then I'm going to do a double crochet, so yarn over, and then you go into the junction, which is what I call this. Now here, of course, we are trying to pick up, I'm going to go in here. We are going to try and pick up a sensible location. Then you do your double crochet, and as you can see, you're now at the top of your loop, and that's the location where you have to be. So now we are going to start doing chain 5s, 5, and you do a single crochet in the middle of the next loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, into the next loop with a single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, until, of course, 3, 4, 5, until, of course, you reach the end of your round, and I will be there to show you what to do. So here I'm in the location where I have to do my last loop, but of course, if I chain 5 and I attach it here, I'm in the wrong place. So I'm going to 1, 2, 3, chain 3, yarn over, insert into the junction. Now, if you were to pick up this, it will enlarge. So I try to pick up something in that double crochet as well, so that when you pull it, it doesn't enlarge. So just a little bit lower down than where you would normally enter. And now I'm back again on top of my loop, ready to get started on my next round. And this is how, of course, you are going to continue until your trellis is tall enough for your jar. So here I did 7 rounds. Here obviously I will do as well, but if you have a bigger jar, you will have to do more rounds, and once again you will just have to keep on trying it onto your jar like this. Look, there we go. See, so this fits nicely, the base is fine, and now we are looking at how our trellis is going up the side, and I think I like it. So I will see you now when it is just about here. So I think this is tall enough. I'm going to now do a round so that it comes together again a little bit, but this way it will sort of stretch out my trellis a little bit more. So here I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds, and on this one I did 7. So just depends on how you feel, but this way my trellis will be a little bit more stretched out. As you can see, these openings are a tiny little bit different, but then again I had half double crochets here, so you know, there's so much variation, so much adaptation you can do to your jar basically. So I just finished this round here. So now I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, then you go to the middle of the next loop and you do a single crochet, 1, 2 and 3, and you do a single crochet in the middle of the next loop. And doing this will give you a straight edge at the top. Let me show you, look. And we'll bring in the top a little bit so it is straight again. So I will see you at the end of the round. So here, as you can see, we've got our last chain 3, but of course I have to make it all the way to there. So I'm going to find that junction to go into again, and I'm just going to bring it together and do a single crochet or a slip stitch if that feels better for you. Now we are going to go ahead and place 3 single crochets around each chain 3. So chain 1, and then start with doing your 3 single crochets around each chain 3 that you have just created, and that way you will be making a little edge around the top of your trellis. And here I go over to the V there, and I just do a slip stitch to close the round. So there we have it. That is our trellis. And of course, yes, I have tried it before. I am now cutting off my yarn, and it does fit. So make sure in a way that although it seems like it's too small, it will still fit. So it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to put this onto, there we go. See, it does work. So you've got to just make sure that you can still get it on, although it might seem a little bit difficult. Now I have here 2 rims here, and this, look, I can fit my little edge that I've just created nicely in between. It's the perfect little jar for this. I mean, it just came with a lemon cheesecake dessert from Marks and Spencer. So if you are in the UK and you buy things from Marks and Spencer, go and have a look. It was the perfect little jar to use for this. So I think I might use a sharp needle this time, because I'm going to try and sew on my flower into the trellis. So first of all, let's get rid of the end here. And I'm just going to go along the trellis like so and make sure it's attached. There we go. So that is okay. And now for the flower, what I will do is position it, maybe even if there is somewhere where you don't like the join, then it would be a good place for you to, or maybe here, that looks a little bit different. So let's put the flower on there, then it doesn't show up, of course. And we are going to, there we go, put it on your needle. And what I tend to do is go around sort of there while I pick up some of these, pick up some of that, pick up. So yeah, I have this at the top there, and then it's just a matter of picking up a few strands here. Let's start with these ones there. Okay, and then you go, make sure everything is lying nicely. Then you go over to the flower and pick up some strands there. That will bring it together. Then you go over to your trellis, over to the flower. There we go, into the trellis again, into the flower again. And that's how I work my way around sort of the center of the flower. And then with this one here, I'll try and do the same thing, but moving from petal to trellis, petal, trellis, petal, trellis. So a bigger circle around my flower. And then these ones here, they're really too short to do anything with. So I might just stop doing what I'm doing while I'm still able to get to the back of the flower and just sew these in, because I've realized I have enough with the ends that I have hanging out there. So it might be an idea to do it in this order as well, just so that you know you don't need these 2 ones here. If you do need them, and if they are longer, you might just want to do the same thing, you know, try and, oh yeah, look, I can just do some attaching here, going back into the flower with the shorter one, into the trellis, into the, there we go, see? Voila. And so I've now used it for something, so I might as well just quickly go in again and cut it off. There we go. So that's been useful. And now we'll continue with doing what I was, going round sort of the edge of the center of the flower each time, picking up some trellis as well. There we go, trellis into the flower. Look, and this is how you can continue to attach your flower to your trellis. Of course, I've only put one flower on there because I thought, you know, it's not a big jar, obviously. But feel free if you have a big jar like this one, wouldn't it be lovely to do a whole circle of flowers? So feel free to put however many flowers you might like on your jar. And yeah, let's see what we could use this jar for, because we're making this, but what are you going to use it for? As a little flower pot? Would you be able to put your hooks in it? Would you use it for, I don't know, makeup brushes or spoons in the kitchen? Something like that. So do show me your finished BLOOMIN jars and let me know what you are using it for. I would love to see your picture on the Facebook group. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial. I hope you will enjoy making your BLOOMIN jar, whichever size you are making, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!